this film, we'll be meeting the people who were born at the dawn of that new era. The generation will never know the country that was the Soviet Union.
Unless we wake up to what is going on in our oceans very soon, we will be facing an environmental catastrophe to match climate change.
Inside the Beltway, Washington's political village, the knives are out for the architects of the Iraq War. But will that prove fatal for the idea of using military clout to spread democracy?
This is BBC World, putting news first.
The body of Saddam Hussein is expected to be buried in a Sunni stronghold near his hometown. A violent backlash and Shia celebrations as the Arab world condemns the timing of the execution. In other news, only a few survivors. 500 people are feared to have drowned after a ferry sinks off the coast of Java. And solemn tributes as friends and family gather for the funeral of Gerald Ford, the 38th President of the United States. Hello and welcome to BBC News. I'm Karin Giannone. The body of Saddam Hussein has been flown on board an American plane to his hometown of Tikrit. The former Iraqi president was hanged early on Saturday for crimes against humanity. His family has issued a statement saying they intend to hold his funeral in the insurgent stronghold of Ramadi. From Baghdad, our World Affairs editor John Simpson follows the closing moments of the Saddam era.
The Iraqi government was worried that the Iraqi people might not believe that Saddam Hussein was really dead. So they ordered that the entire execution should be videoed with extraordinary results. Some of the pictures in this report are quite disturbing.
Just as the sun came up and the first words of the call to prayer were sounding, Saddam Hussein's extraordinary life came to an end. And the whole scene was captured on video in some of surely the most compelling pictures ever seen. There's just a glimpse of the scaffold where he's about to die and the hangman's noose. Saddam is well wrapped up. They don't want him shivering with the cold. There's no sound with these pictures, but one of the executioners explains to Saddam they're going to put a cloth round his neck to protect it from the rope. He's scarcely listening. He's already told them he refuses to have his face covered when he dies. As they move him over towards the trapdoor, his legs shackled, he seems remarkably calm. No begging for forgiveness. Then, on the trapdoor, they put the noose around his neck. Seconds from his death, he's repeating verses from the Quran. This is where the video ends. The actual hanging isn't shown.
Well, Saddam Hussein's execution has been described by President Bush as an important milestone for Iraq, but he warned it would not bring an end to the violence. Here, the British Foreign Secretary Margaret Beckett said Saddam had finally been held to account for his crimes. David Loyne reports on the international reaction to Saddam's execution.
Saddam Hussein's extraordinary life came to its extraordinary end with the first execution of a former head of state for crimes against humanity. But as Iraq remains in chaos, the reaction to his death has been muted abroad. George Bush did not speak in person but issued a statement saying, bringing him to justice will not end the violence in Iraq, but it is an important milestone. There's been little triumphalism then as world leaders, particularly those with troops in Iraq, contemplate the future. Saddam's trial has not helped the violence. Look at this chart showing the number of acts of violence. The monthly total when he was captured was still less than 20, but it's risen so that 2006 was the worst year since he fell. The month of his sentencing, November, the worst month, with 65 attacks causing deaths. It does now look as though the violence has a momentum of its own, whether Saddam Hussein is dead or alive.